Welcome to the Disney Hour Express podcast. I'm Abby.
And I'm Rob. We are two hopelessly romantic Disney enthusiasts,
Sharing fun stories, secret tips, and family travel experiences.
If you are a Disney newbie, or maybe a season pass holder, we hope you find this information helpful.
We turned our love of Disney into a unique boutique travel agency that books Disney and Universal vacations.
We've got a lot of stories, so cozy on up, choose your favorite drink,
Whether that be a cocktail or a hot chocolate,
and enjoy the Disney Hour Express.
Well, hey there, Pottineers. It's so good to have you here for episode 101 of the Disney Hour Express.
It's a new Disney Hour Express, and now that we've reached episode 100, it's now 101. We are only going to talk about sea turtles. So
They're very cute with their little wings.
but they have
of
to be
sea.
wings on the
Wings
sea
of
turtles.
sea.
But they have to be, it has to be Disney related though.
So we're going to talk about Vero Beach.
Crush.
Only. Oh, Crush. Got it. Turtle talk like Crush.
Yes, exactly.
I like
Vero
it.
Beach turtles.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah. Exactly.
we can't talk about those teenage ones though, because they're not
trouble.
Disney. Okay.
What an intro.
Yeah, exactly.
I hope you hung in there with us through that. Well,
doubt it.
we're excited to have you here, and we've got an interesting topic today. We are going to talk a little bit about all the questions we get asked as travel agents or travel agency owners. We will share them here, and they might be of interest to you. Who knows?
And it wasn't because we just had a travel agency meeting that
We
we
totally
came up with
did.
this idea.
I knew we were going to have a lot to chat about. We had our mandatory travel agent meeting today for Family
Mandatory.
Travel Planner.
The boss said it was mandatory.
That's right. I did. And it's because every once in a while we need to check in. We need to know what's going on out there. And we talk about goals. We talk about what's going to help on our social medias. That's Rob's area of expertise. And we talk about retaining and gaining clients. I mean, all of that's
it's
super
exciting.
interesting, right?
Yeah, it's super exciting stuff for the listeners and the
I
Disney
know.
fans going
I
in.
know.
They're
So
like,
anyways,
we want to hear about your business. So we're sitting here on it's a Sunday evening. It's
snowing
outside.
like
We're supposed to be
crazy.
getting a good 5 to 7 inches, I think.
Oh, I'm so excited.
I'm not.
It's just been a long time since we've gotten a good
I
snowstorm.
don't want it. It's just shoveling and snow plowing for me.
It's so funny though, because he like leaves me here without a plowed driveway. He's like, I gotta go to work. And we're just kind of like, okay.
I'll be home at
we're
some
stuck
point.
here.
Yeah. What do
What
you
can
need to do?
What
You're
do
okay.
you do? I don't know.
You already have the day off, but
Well, yeah. In any
Yes.
case, so we'll start with question number 1 over here.
okay.
We get asked a lot, when is the best time to visit Disney? Now, isn't this the question, right? Who knows? Disney's always busy. There used to be some really big lull times, but Disney World doesn't have them as often. That being said, it really depends on what you're looking for. Is it the small crowds, or is it like a fun, festive event that you're looking for? So if you're looking for smaller crowds, you typically say mid-January to mid-February, crowds decrease significantly. Now, if you're going for something like tomorrow, which is January 20th, that might be a bigger crowd day because everybody's got it off, right? And then there's a weekend in February that's around the 20th. They
got it off unless they're
a
in,
lot of folks have off.
unless they're in Arizona, then they don't.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry, Arizona. In any case, mid-January to mid-February, crowds do decrease significantly. Late April, so once the spring breaks have broken, and to mid-May, so before the summer rush, that's actually a good time to hit up the parks. Late August to mid-September is when school is back in session, so you're more likely to see the parks a little bit slower. Just keep in mind that that beginning of September is a really big time for corporate conferences, and they take the Orlando area by storm. So just know where you're staying, know what's going on at that resort or hotel. If you're staying outside of the Disney resorts, you just want to keep an eye on that. Right. And then another one is mid-November to mid-December, excluding Thanksgiving week. That's a crazy one. And just making sure you're like pre-holiday season. It's manageable crowds throughout that time. Now, let's say we don't care about crowds. We're looking for the best weather. What were you going to say? He started to huff into
nothing.
something.
It's just like, I'm just barreling through this answer. And we've gone over crowd calendars before.
We have. Yep.
We've talked about it in the past. So it is something, but it's always worth
revisiting.
And hearing. And I'd like to see, I have friends that don't have a traditional school year like we have, where they don't have a summer, right? They have like these.
Oh yeah, they have like
they're not trimesters.
Off,
they're
right?
like, yeah, it's like they get like, I don't even know what it is, but they get like 3 weeks off in between. But it always ends up on like these different times of the year. So I think they should be the ones that are taking advantage of those weeks. When when the rest of the nation's in school, they could go, and it's a good time to go to the parks.
100%. And I think that they do in some ways. I know travel specialist Nicole, her kids have a schedule quite like that. They consider their kids going to school year round, but they do get these very long periods of time off. So, okay, best weather. We're looking at mid-March to May and October to early November, right? Because that's outside of this kind of hurricane season. Hurricanes can still sometimes happen in October, but they're like less likely. And you've got not too hot in that March to May zone. If you're looking to go for special events, you've got to look for Epcot's International Flower and Garden Festival, which is March to May. Excuse me, my favorite. Don't give me that. You go.
Talking taupes?
If you're looking for Mickey's
We didn't
Nuts.
talk taupes this year.
We haven't talked taupes this year.
Okay.
I just get really sad about it. I love my topiaries. No, Mickey's Nuts So Scary Halloween Party, August through October. Epcot's International Food and Wine Festivals, usually August through November. And then the holidays at Disney begin in November and December, January 2nd or so. So that's when you would go for that. Now, if you're a budget on like a big budget restriction, you're going to be looking at those vacations from mid-January to mid-February. Why? Because there's not a whole lot going on at Disney, right? They're cleaning up, they're recovering from the crazy holiday, and they don't typically have a lot of festivals going on. I mean, there's a couple of festivals here and there. There's arts, which is so funny. I didn't even mention that one. But yeah, there's the Festival of the Arts, which is not too flashy of a deal.
And it is, but the one thing, if you do go between January and February, there's a lot of they're refurbishing a lot of things.
So there's a lot of things.
Cali River Rapids, there's a lot of hotels that are being worked on right now, and pools closed. Grand Floridian is one of them. If you're going there this week, hopefully somebody told you that their biggest pool is closing for about a month. I don't know. There's always something, but yeah, it's a good time to go if you can make it. But
another good time would be late August to early September. It's hot and you could experience some torrential downpours, but as far as budget restrictions, that's why it's a budgeted time to go. It's good. And then if you're looking for something in the winter, early December between Thanksgiving and Christmas, we're not looking at very peak crowds because they're usually there on Thanksgiving or Christmas or both if you're really special. So right in between. So there you go. That's kind of the best times to visit Disney. It's not super broken down, but that's why you get a travel agent who can work with you on what's best for you.
Yes. I think one of the questions that I get from, and I'm not one, I have a very directed role in our travel agency, so I'm not really one dealing with a lot of clients per se and booking stuff. Like my friend just asked me for something for pricing, and it was the first time I've actually gave someone a quote. But the one thing that I do hear Abby get a lot, and I feel like even I get a lot, is like, am I getting the best deal, right? They're always asking that question, which is something to do with Abby, just went over when the best deals are. But it's as if, like, I mean, as travel agents, we have access to like basically the same pricing that you do. There's no special pricing
Right.
outside of it, but we just understand, we have the knowledge to kind of look at everything a little bit quicker. We know the hotels that, they're giving you better deals, and the ones that you want to stay at, and like, oh, that's a really good price, and yeah, you should jump on that. And I think that's where it comes down to, right? So there's people always asking, am I getting the best deal? And yes, there's sometimes like a place like a Costco or something's offering some crazy price,
Right.
Not a little bit lower. I wouldn't say it's crazy, but you'll find like a lower price.
Yep.
But here's the but. After you buy those tickets and you buy that hotel package, that's it. You're on your own, right? There's nothing else. There's no one that's going to guide you.
Right.
There's no one that's going to help you out in a time of need, any of that. Or, you need to change plans, or you need to, you want to know when your 60 days is up for your reservations, your dining reservations. That's where it comes in, right? So it's like, but
nobody's there to get up at 6 a.m. and do those for you.
And the price is just a little bit, you might find a slightly lower price at some place, but if you don't have a travel advisor,
right,
then it makes all the difference.
Yeah, exactly. Very well said.
Yeah.
So here's another one. Why, and this is for the agency, I guess for us, it says, why do you want to keep your travel agency small? And so, yeah,
Is that in your questions that you gave me?
Yeah, I do.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I get asked this quite frequently because I do a lot of interviews for our agents. And that's actually a reason why a lot of our agents have joined our travel agency, because we do like to keep it a little bit on the smaller side. I originally came from a travel agency that was super large. And like a decade ago, I worked there, and they still have me on their website, which makes me laugh. I'm just like, what? Because they don't know me. They didn't know who I was. They didn't nurture anything about any of the trips I had. If there was a problem, it was like completely on me. I couldn't text anyone at night that would get back to me and understand how freaked out I was about whatever, right? That just didn't happen. Yeah. So part of like why I like to keep it small is because I like to know my peeps. I want to know who they are and why they came here. I like to have a close-knit environment. There's a huge opportunity for growth at our travel agency. Like, we have a lot of people that shift into more managerial roles, and it's awesome because this might be the first time that they're in a managerial role, and because the travel agency is smaller, we're able to nurture those things. There's lots of flexibility. There's tons of creativity. I have people that come up to me and they're like, oh, hey, I made this graphic. Do you think you want to use it? Or things like that. And everyone here in our agency is seen. And I feel really, really good about that, especially coming out of a big meeting that we had today, and then getting flooded with all the text and emails afterwards. It makes me feel good that they feel heard and seen, and they're more rejuvenated and excited about F2P than ever before.
And then on the opposite end, I say bring them all on because Rob don't want to work anymore. So bring them all on. You can manage them all, and I'll just stay back here and pretend like I'm engineering a podcast. I'll send out some graphics every once in a while. You got it.
I don't think so, babe, because I just handed out your phone number today. You're going to be getting lots of calls.
Nope, you actually gave the wrong number out.
That's true. I did start to give out the wrong number.
Did start the entire time. No one knows it.
What have you got? What's another question people throw your way?
I only had that one. Oh, come back to me. Go and do another one.
Terrible.
Do another one. I'll come back.
Another one we get asked a lot is, when do the best travel deals come out? And that's similar to your clients asking, are they getting the best deal? Well, the best...
And what you just said, you just went over like when the best deals are.
Right. But the best deals actually come out in January.
Yes.
The published deals, they come out in January. This is what's known as wave season. Even the cruise lines come out with the best deals. But I mean, if you're looking at Disney specifically, in January, they released the announcement for annual pass holder discounts up to 35% from January to April. Early 2025 room discounts up to 25% February to April. Free dining deal most nights May through August. Stay longer and save up to 35% May through September, and up to 40% off for Florida residents May through July. I mean, all of those discounts were released in January.
Yeah.
So it's definitely the month to wait for
And
deals.
I think that's when people are typically trying to, they're planning out their summers, and, traditional summers, and their summer plans when they're going to take their trips. And so it seems to be, like I said, we had one friend book and another friend that's about to book. Like we're, planning ours out.
Yep.
It's the time to plan a summer vacation.
And what's great about having a travel agent as well is that they can apply these discounts after you've already booked. So let's say you had a trip coming up in February and the early room discount came out, and then they can go in and readjust your whole reservation for you as long as it meets the requirements for the discount.
Yeah, if you're eligible for it, you'll get it.
Yeah.
And that's something a travel agent will do, and they
keep their eye on everything.
Because we get emails and stuff. I mostly ignore them, but Abby tells me about them later.
I do. I sum them up. It's our nightly roundup.
It's a chat GPT. So what happened?
I'm your little AI.
Yeah, you are.
Oh boy.
I'd like to give you some prompts.
Okay. What is your question?
Go make me dinner. No, imagine.
Terrible.
So my question I get all the time is, why do you let the dogs in your studio when you're doing the podcast? No, Lando's just like scratching and twirling around and everything. I have nothing. I've got nothing else.
Another one I get asked, and usually again during the interview process, when we're trading stories about our love for Disney and things like that, and they're trying to impress me, sometimes they want to know, have you ever had a bad experience with a client? And I'll say, like, not really bad, but I did have a client get a little, like, more than once because of this particular thing, get a little upset. And why was that? It was because of the Disney bag tags. Now, back in the day when the Disney, I'm having a blank of what they're called, the Disney wristbands were free.
Oh, yeah.
You used to be sent the Disney wristbands, and let's say you had like a family of 4. They were all in a box and super nice. And in there, you'd get some like luggage tags. And then underneath the Disney wristbands, inside the box, so not necessarily something like visual for you to see, they used to put these Magical Express luggage service tags that were yellow. Sometimes they'd be in the box, sometimes they'd be in a whole separate envelope coming later, right? And they were yellow. So you'd have your free Disney bag tags, the ones you write your name and your address on, and then these yellow Magical Express luggage tags. The idea is that if you were taking the Magical Express, they would pick up your luggage for you right from the terminal, and you wouldn't have to do anything. You just go right to the Magical Express, right to your resort room, do whatever you wanted, and your bag would magically appear in your room later that day. The problem was people don't read emails, and they don't often listen. So, and I'm not saying everyone, just a few people would put the regular Disney bag tag on there with their name and the address and not do anything with the yellow tag. And then they'd be like, well, where's my luggage? It's 9 p.m. at night. And I'd be like, well, did you put the yellow bag tag on there like it stated? And they would be like, I didn't get a yellow tag. And I'd be like, well, And so a lot of times I would pre-check with them and like make sure this go well. But
Yeah.
sometimes it didn't. And so Disney was really good, and they'd go to they'd ask for a description of the bag, and then they'd go get it and bring it back. But it would take a lot longer
Yeah.
than what you had, sold in your package. But it was all because people didn't read or forgot or just mistook this luggage tag as being the tag that we were talking about when it was two different tags. So we had a couple of people get upset about that certain situation, which I would get upset too if I went and I was like, where's my luggage, right? So I was not upset when this discontinued after the pandemic, and then the whole Magic Express just went down in 2022 of January. So I mean, I miss the Magical Express, but I don't. I just as likely want to take an Uber and go right to my hotel and not worry about it.
Let's stop in other places and things like that.
So it was a tough service. It was a tough service.
Carry your own bags.
Carry your own bags. Yes.
One of the questions that I have gotten throughout my short history as a travel agent is, I get people, they always want to know, should I get the fast pass or should I get the
lightning lanes?
Should I get lightning lanes? You get those, but they would ask me fast pass.
Oh yeah, and then you know which era they're from.
Yeah.
Like, how long has it been since you've gone?
Exactly. So you get that, and that just kind of depends on what your goal is. Is it to get as many rides in as possible? Is that what you're, how many days you're going to be at the parks? How many are you going to spend at each park? What's your, the rides that you want to get to? And so it really does depend. And I think we've covered that before. We've gone over in other episodes. Said, should you get that? Should you get the Premier Pass? I mean, if you got the money and you want to get all the rides in one day, absolutely go for it.
Yes.
But, it really does all depend. I think, did you have another question or?
I do have one from our travel specialist, Nikki. She actually said she gets asked a lot, what exactly do you do as a travel agent? Like, let's say you have a client who's like, why would I book with you? What do you do for me? Well, that's a really good one because it's hard to sum up. And like, I always get like that kind of like stuck in my own self and I don't explain it well. But a good way to explain it is a travel agent is a personal travel advocate who makes planning and experiencing your trip easier, less stressful, and more tailored to your needs. And I think that's a really big one, more tailored to your needs. The person on the other end of the computer when you're just booking or Costco or Sam's Club or whatever, they don't care that your 2-year-old hates loud sounds. And they're not going to tell you what best park to go to and what time to accommodate that. Right. But we as a travel specialist we would want to get to know your family and you, and we want to know what kind of meals you like and don't like. We're not going to recommend things that are not good for you as a family unit. So you also get with that expert guidance, customized itineraries, time saving, because think about how much time you spend researching online, and if you're a busy person and you can't do that, you need a travel agent. That's true. We do a lot of problem solving and support, right? When those people didn't get their bags at their resort, they weren't on the phone with customer service. I was, right? And if your booking is canceled for some sort of weather related reason, you're not on the phone. I am. If you want the discount added to your vacation, I'm on the phone, right? I'm doing all that stuff for you because I value you as a person and you value me as your travel advisor. So again, we research, we book, we personalize, and on a special occasion, which we talked about today in our meeting, travel agents get special promotions and room upgrades that you wouldn't get if you booked independently. Now, that's not all the time, but that is on special occasions, and it's really cool. I love talking to people and getting them more special rooms. We recently had someone that went to the Polynesian that got upgraded to a fireworks room just because they worked with our travel agency. So it's cool. I mean, you join for the perks. You don't get that otherwise.
Really cool. And the thing to think about is you're not paying. It doesn't cost anything, right? For
it does
a
not
travel
cost
anything
the
extra.
individual anything extra.
It's anything. We get paid a commission based off of the sale, but that's coming out of the sale for Disney. It doesn't cost you anything.
So it's included in your price. It's not anything that's extra at all.
It's the same thing as if you went to just the Disney website on your own. It's the same price. So that's why it really just makes sense, right?
Yeah.
If you see if you're debating it. I mean, there's some people that just like doing things on their own. They like the research. They have the time. They're able to do it and get it done. It's going back to your Magic Band story. It just, and the yellow tags. I remember when I took my solo trip, and that was still at the time when they were still sending out the wristbands.
Yeah.
And they sent one out, and it was just like, because obviously they're geared towards like families. So it was like, congratulations, Passero family. And I'm like, it's just
party
me.
of one.
Yeah. I'm a family of one. Woe is me.
Aww.
But anyway, one other question that I also get is similar. Should I get a park hopper?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's a pretty big one. And in fact, I had a coworker of mine, once he found out that I was, into Disney, asked, and he just really didn't, he had no idea. He's like, can I do all 4 parks in one day?
No, Lord.
And I was like, you could like step foot in all 4 parks, but you can't like get the experience of them all. There's no way, it's just, but he didn't know any better. So the park hopper pass, again, it really is, it's all like, it's kind of another one of those answers. It depends if you're, how many days you have, what your goals are, what's your family into, are you trying to experience everything? Are you trying, it kind of makes sense. I do like I just like the option. It gives you the open-endedness of having the park hopper, whereas you could be like, you get this, sometimes you're like, like, I don't feel like Magic Kingdom's I'm just not having a great time at Magic Kingdom. I want to get out here and go walk around the World Showcase. It's just, it all depends. You're like, Animal Kingdom seems kind of boring. Like everything, Flight of the Passage has like a 4-hour wait. That's the only ride I wanted to go on. I'm out of here. I want to go to Hollywood Studios. There's more to do there. So it all just depends. It just depends. But I think it is a lot of times Disney, like there's a dining plan right now that goes, you get a free dining plan, which is a really good deal, but you have to take the park hopping passes.
Yep.
And, I think it's worth having them.
Yes. Yeah.
And paying for it. Sometimes it's different because, we as travel agents, we get discounts we get park hopper passes, but the kids don't. Mm-hmm. And so we don't always go that route. And, we're usually, trying to just take a day at a park, but I think it's worth it. I like the park hoppers.
Yeah. I'm excited for that this year. Anyways, that's all. That's really the roundup. I mean, we get asked a ton more questions, but those are the ones that are repeat questions, and I hope you found them helpful.
A little bit.
Yeah.
So now, that's why we were so thrown off, because I had this on a different screen.
I know. I can't see myself talk. It's really messing me up.
Oh, I'm so sorry. There's not a ton going on in the the Orlando theme park universe,
which stands to our comment that at this time it's a little bit slower. That's why people like to go, but also there are a lot of closures.
There are a lot of closures, and like I said, one of them is the Grand Floridian Pool. Cali River Rapids is closed. Obviously, they just closed Dinoland. So that goes back to, they just had a groundbreaking ceremony on January 17th for the new Tropical Americas
Oh, yes. We heard about it, but it wasn't like they said anything prior that there was going to be like the groundbreaking. So when the news came out, Nikki and I were like, wait, what? Excuse me?
Yeah, they like did it with like the you could just see like the remnants of Dinoland in the background.
Yeah.
just pictures of like Imagineers with hard hats and shovels.
I love it.
Yeah, well, that's funny. So yeah, that's happening. Obviously, as you know, Chester and Hester's Dinorama, including Triceratops Spin, Dinosaur Treasures, and Fossil Fun Games have closed.
Yeah.
There's construction walls. We'll split the land in half as Dinosaur, the Boneyard, and Restaurantosaurus remain open. And for those that were wondering, because it is on the outskirts of Dinoland, Finding Nemo, the Big Blue, and beyond will not be affected.
Yep. Okay.
So that's something. And I gotta say, I liked the Finding Nemo when we went and saw it. It was really cute. It was really cute, and it was good to like get out of the weather. It was like raining, and it was like humid, and it was nice to just get inside and sit down. When we were
there was like nobody in the audience.
It wasn't like very packed. It
was kind of weird. Yeah.
Yeah, we had like good seats and it was cool. I was fine with it. It was like a half hour. It wasn't dark enough. I needed it to be a little bit darker. But then I would have done that. Anyway, so that's happening. That's Tropical Americas. That's going to be open, I think. I don't remember if they've given a projected date on that. Definitely not this year. Maybe the end of next year.
Not sure.
Yeah, because Encanto.
They love their open-ended dates, you know.
That they do. So Moana 2. Are you familiar with it?
Oh yeah.
You've seen it, right?
Yes, sir.
A big fan. Pua, Maui.
I love it.
Hey.
So
hey. So that just passed $1 billion in the box office. Right?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so that's a big deal. And it helped Disney become the only studio to top $5 billion in the global box office for 2024.
Yeah, Disney.
Yeah, and we were just between.
That's impressive.
Yeah, between that and Inside Out 2, and they were just rocking it. The Moana 2 is only the 32nd Disney-owned film to surpass the $1 billion mark. It's only the 32nd film. It's like if it was only like the 7th film to do it. It's only the 32nd, you know. But it shows you just how big they make those hits are. But like some of the other movies that have made it, Frozen 2, Zootopia.
Yeah.
The original Moana only grossed $687 million worldwide. That was back in 2016.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I guess it really didn't take off until later. I mean, being that it has such a great soundtrack and it was like a fun movie and it had The Rock in it. How could you go wrong with The Rock? But anyway, there's also a little bit of controversy.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that.
It's being sued, right? Disney's being sued for copyright infringement by a gentleman who claimed that he wrote a similar screenplay to Moana. And it was just about Moana in general, not necessarily about Moana 2, but they saying that it was the lawsuit couldn't be on the original. It was too late to have anything for the original Moana, but because Moana 2 is involved and it has similar plot points to this other screenplay that they could pursue. Who knows?
I just feel like it's so hard to pinpoint these things because, I mean, that would be terrible if that were true. But also, really?
There's actually people that they usually have some form of a law degree. Mm-hmm. And what they do is they just go around suing giant corporations claiming copyright infringement because a lot of the times they don't want to deal with it.
Yeah.
So they'll just give you a payout and it'll be like, all right, we'll give you $10,000 to leave us alone. And they're like, all right, good. I didn't have anything. It's like, I didn't have anything anyway. I was just, doing it. So it could be one of those situations.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's wild. Wild.
But so that's happening. So you could see Moana 2 could be turned into Bucky.
Oh,
Imagine if it was Bucky instead. That's probably a snowstorm
I
alert we
know.
just got.
We just got a warning on your echo.
Well, so over now we've talked about farts is happening.
Yep.
Festival of the Arts.
Arts.
There's a lot, despite it having a lot of art. There's also a lot of food that goes along with it. There's a lot of new food that they release every year in the different food booths. So there's not just food booths in the Food and Wine Festival. It's like for everything.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of food. I mean, I'm not going to go over it all, but it's called a Mela Spritz. It's got apple schnapps, prosecco, and sparkling water. And the review said this tastes like alcoholic apple juice in a bad way. We do not recommend that. Where was the one? It seems like there's a lot of different lemonades that they're releasing. There's a layered tropical berry smoothie. It's a non-alcoholic. It's wild berry, pina colada mix, and strawberry. They said it was actually very good. It's a non-alcoholic. It's $5, and it comes in a collectible Festival of the Arts cup.
Okay.
They said it's well worth it. They said it's very refreshing.
Oh.
It's nice to have.
Okay.
They have a layered version of that comes with Sailor Jerry rum for an extra. So that the non-alcoholic drink's $5. For $15, you get the same drink without the collectible cup and a little bit of Sailor Jerry rum in it.
Yeah.
And they said it's not worth it because you could barely taste any of the rum.
Aww.
And they went a little, so it's not worth the money. The last thing I wanted to, and I'm just scrolling around here. See, there's a lot of different lemon. There's a Figment. No, so the second last thing, Figment Imagination Lemonade. And then you get to choose your.
Are you just imagining the lemonade? It's not really there.
Exactly. It's making my mouth water. You get to choose your flavor, right? So they have 8 flavors: blue raspberry, strawberry, toasted marshmallow, lavender, chipotle pineapple.
Ew.
Cupcake, South Seas blend, which is mango, guava, and ginger, and hickory smoke. Would you want a hickory smoke
Drink?
Yeah, it's like a slushy.
I don't think so.
Interesting. They chose marshmallow. And they said the flavor comes in strong, but it's so good.
Okay.
They wish they had an alcohol option because it would be an amazing cocktail.
Interesting.
So the very last thing, and I'll show you a picture of this.
Please do. Oh, yay.
An imagination cone, right?
Yeah.
And so it looks a lot like Figment.
Oh, it's cute.
And so it's bubblegum, soft serve, and a lavender cone, sparks of quotation marks of imagination, and white chocolate wings. So the sparks of imagination are just nerds. They're nerds candies.
Yeah.
But it's cute. Soft serve, bubblegum, soft serve, and it's in like like a purple cone.
But I wonder if it tastes like Pepto-Bismol, because it's bubblegum flavored. But it's so cute.
They said it wasn't the best. They said that the ice cream wasn't very creamy. The soft serve smells more like bubblegum than it tastes. The white chocolate wings weren't great. And the nerds were just too much with everything that was going on. So the lavender cone was good, and it takes a pretty picture.
It does take a pretty picture. But every time I see it, I think of those little gremlins. For some reason, the little wings on the side. Because I can't see any Figment thing. It just looks like a little gremlin. A cute one because it's pink and has...
Last Disney story... last Disney World story I was about the manatees, right?
I know.
Okay. So, we talked about it's finding the seas with Nemo and friends, right? It was like a little bit, it's a small aquarium. It has several tanks, and it houses certain types of animals. They had dolphins that they have now moved. I think it was just due to the tank size, I believe, or the overall care. And then they've had I think 3 manatees. One moved already.
Yep.
That was Lou. Mm-hmm. I believe moved. And then there were other 2 manatees. They were kind of like a pair, Little Joe and Inigo, and they have since been moved. And so everyone was wondering. Now they didn't move. They didn't move too far. They they all went, including the dolphins, I believe, went to the
Yes.
same place, the Gulfarium Marine
Yes.
Adventure Park near Fort Walton Beach,
Yes.
which is in the Florida Panhandle.
Yeah.
So they're not that far. And everyone, it looks like they showed like the process of them being moved, and I mean, you know, these manatees are huge.
Yeah.
They're like a few tons or something, and
Yeah.
they're big, giant. You know, they're like sea cows.
Yeah.
They were wondering why they were moved, right? That was kind of
Right. And
like,
there was no warning or talk about it beforehand. Like the dolphins, we knew were going. So why didn't they say the manatees were going?
and it was more just or at least all they're saying is that it has to do that the seas with Nemo and friends are more as a short-term care,
That's right. Mm-hmm.
and that's what they're saying it is that they just
Yeah.
so they're going to be bringing in more
Yeah.
more no, they're not animals, more
Manatees or
yeah, they are mammals, I guess, right?
Yeah.
I think. And yeah, they're gonna be bringing more of them, but it's more like just to like rehabilitate injured or orphaned manatees. The
Right.
ultimate goal of moving on to somewhere else for long-term care.
Right. They were actually saying they would move them to SeaWorld for longer term care because SeaWorld's more equipped for that. But they haven't done that yet. They've moved them over to this other Gulf
About that
Aquarium.
SeaWorld, I've seen things.
I know.
Save the orcas.
I understand.
Over now, if we go all the way across country, I mean, now that thankfully the wildfires seem to be under
Yeah.
control,
Yeah.
right? And I know they were worried
was
about winds this
crazy.
past week, but then nothing seemed to spark back up. But I mean, all the devastation.
Had already happened. My
yes.
goodness.
Beyond that, so Disneyland Haunted Mansion finally opened back up.
Well, thank goodness for that.
I mean, praise the Lord, right? For those wondering, there wasn't. It's kind of weird, right? It's been closed for such a long time, and then in various forms. Like, I haven't seen the original Haunted Mansion in forever, and there really wasn't a ton of changes.
Right.
Like the stretching room,
that
it
hurts.
seemed like things are just like a little more refreshed.
Okay.
I guess in the ride, which is for the best. I mean, it's been around forever. Right? It was an original Disneyland, I believe, and it was an opening. Was it opening day Haunted Mansion? I gotta double
You know
check
what?
that.
That sounds right because the building and the style of the building
Where
was
the New
definitely
Orleans,
something that Walt picked out. So
He loved
it
it.
sounds familiar.
But I guess the big thing is that the bride, right? There's always the scene of the murderous Constance Hatchaway. So it's since been replaced, and it's really just that it's like now they're behind the bride. There's like a window where there wasn't a window, and there's a cat with one
Yeah.
eye. And I don't know, everyone gets really anytime anything changes, like, oh, that's not my bride. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, it
I
seems
get
like
it.
she has like
I
a
would be
beating
that way.
heart, and she's kind of creepy looking, and so. But then the other thing was the hitchhiking ghost that we all see at the end of the show.
Yeah.
So they beforehand, and even in currently in Walt Disney, or I think they've actually changed it in Disney World.
Yeah.
The hitchhiking ghosts they utilized what was called the classic effect of Pepper's ghost. It's the same effect that's used in the ballroom scene where it's like the actual I don't know, they're like puppets or statues of these ghosts are actually in another room, and then they use mirrors to kind of project them out.
Yes.
And so it looks like as if they're ghosts, they're floating, dancing, whatever. And that's how the hitchhiking ghost that you would then take the pictures with
Yeah.
as you were leaving, and you'd look in the mirror, and then you'd see like the ghost in your cart or whatever. It was the
Yeah.
same type of thing. Now it's all just digital projection.
Oh. Okay.
Well,
I mean, whatever works.
Exactly. But it's good to, people just like having the Haunted Mansion back.
Yeah.
and
I know.
especially-
Seriously. That was a long time.
Yeah. And now that it's opened, and anything that could bring anyone joy, let's just let them have it
Yeah.
right now, right?
Yeah.
There's so much stuff going on in the world. And anywho, let's see. Universal really didn't, there's not a ton going on in Universal. They're getting ready for Mardi Gras.
Woo woo.
The one thing I guess that's like a little bit on the cool side is so they have the parade, right? Their daily parade, the Mega Movie Parade.
Yeah.
And they sell these bubble wands that you can buy.
Right.
And the bubble wands will interact with certain floats in the parade.
Oh, that's cool.
And they kind of like do this, they're bubble, it's a wand the kids hold and the bubbles come out of it, but it also will like light up, or it'll make like a part of the float like move or light up or something like that.
Really?
Yeah. So it's similar to the effect the Harry Potter wands.
Right. That's
and what they
neat.
use.
I had no idea.
So now what they also have is that they have these window fronts in Universal, and it's all different. There's like Minions and Jurassic Park and Trolls window fronts, and you could go and use those wands and kind of like have, let's say like you have like a dinosaur comes out and like roars at you or something, and things like that. It's just
that's cute.
I mean, it's something.
Yeah.
It's not, they're not opening a giant ride. Epic Universe is just kind of there. You could watch some aerial footage of it, them testing out things, but it's just that's January, middle of January at the theme parks. There's not a ton going on.
Not a ton going on, but they are prepping for a really big future everywhere. So now's the time to definitely book those trips. So if you need a travel specialist, to come on over to familytravelplanner.com and we will get you all set up.
Have a great rest of your week.
This has been a Family Travel Planner production.